What's up, everybody? Today I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about my thoughts and my feelings on the future of Mitsubishi Motors, specifically here in the United States. I'm sure people who will watch this video are already aware of the rich legacy of racing and performance cars that Mitsubishi has had in its past, specifically cars like the 3000 GT, the Galant VR4, the DSMs, like your Eclipses, your Talons, and your Plymouth Lasers, and everybody knows the Evo. So what made me kind of think of this topic for this video is I have an Evo 9 that I've been working on for about the last year or so, and I've been buying a lot of OEM parts, so I have to go to the dealership for the most part, or I can go to places like STM. But most of the time I try to go to the dealership because I can have the parts shipped there for free. I used to go to a dealership about 5 miles away from my house in Lakewood, Washington. I forget what the name of it was, but they sold Mitsubishis and Kias there. Recently, probably about 4 months ago, I went back to that same dealership, and I hadn't even realized it until I went into the parts department. I asked for the parts I wanted, but they actually had discontinued selling Mitsubishi cars there. They were only a Kia dealer there. So that dealership deciding that they're no longer going to sell new Mitsubishi cars is kind of a red flag to me, because the area that I live in the Seattle, Tacoma area, is actually, the economy is doing really well here. And it's kind of surprising to me for a car company to actually discontinue selling their cars, because there's been such an influx of people here in the last couple of years that there, without a doubt, is enough business for Mitsubishi to sell new cars. So that brings me to the next thing that I've noticed. So the dealership that I go to now in Auburn, Washington, I go out there, it's about 35 minutes away from my home. Not a big deal. I just got to get my parts, in order before I go there. Have a good list so I don't have to make one trip. So I recently went there to buy some bolts or something, whatever. I can't remember specifically what it was. But I remember I was waiting for the parts guy, and I'm standing in basically the showroom area where they have like the biggest vehicles, where basically the Evo or the 3000 GT or the Eclipse GSX would have been parked back, when they were still for sale. And to be honest with you, they just had like a couple of Outlanders in there and a Mirage, which is an economy like hatchback's car. And it got me thinking, it's like, what reason would I come here to look for a new car, especially as a car enthusiast? Like, none of these cars in this room right now are exciting me whatsoever. Like, there's absolutely no way that I would ever consider buying a Mitsubishi Mirage. When I got home, I logged on to Mitsubishi's website just to kind of check out and see if there was other models that I didn't notice on the showroom floor or out on the lot. And what I found was basically they only sell 4 models now, and 2 of them are basically the same thing. So you have your basic Mirage, which looks like they have a hatchback, and then there's just a regular sedan version of it. Then you have your basic Lancer. We all know the Evo is dead, it's gone, at least for now. Hopefully maybe someday they'll bring something back comparable to it. And then they have the Outlander, which has been their go-to crossover for a couple years now. And then to add insult to injury, every Mitsubishi enthusiast ever is probably upset about this. I'm sure you're all aware. They brought the Eclipse back as a crossover, which looks like basically the same thing as an Outlander with maybe some different body lines. But really, when you look at it, there's nothing exciting about it. It doesn't look sporty at all. It's like they just brought the name back and they're just trying to sell cars off an old name that was successful when it came out in the 90s and the early 2000s. But basically, they're just rebadging and kind of changing up an Outlander a little bit. There's nothing cool about it at all, in my opinion. So I want to know from you guys, which vehicle do you get excited about from Mitsubishi? What new car is it? Is it the new Eclipse Cross? Personally, for me, there's not a single vehicle in their lineup that I would even consider buying. The only reason I'm going to a Mitsubishi dealership right now is to buy parts for my old Evo that was discontinued. I personally would rather go to maybe like the Honda dealership and check out the Civic Type R. I may not be walking out of that place or driving out of that place in a new Type R, but it at least is going to get me walking around the lot to take a look at the other vehicles that they offer. So Ford announced that either in model year 2019 or 2020, they're going to cease production of all cars other than the Mustang model. They did some studies, and they found that people were more interested in crossovers, and that's probably true. There's a ton of crossovers on the road out there, but to me, as a car enthusiast thinking about a company like Mitsubishi, which is tiny in comparison to Ford Motor Company, what a better time to bring out a small two-door coupe where you can have a base model that is very economically friendly, gets really good gas mileage, and then you can have a high top-tier model that is all-wheel drive, four-cylinder turbo, just like the Eclipse was back in the early 90s when it came out. And that could be your flagship car. That car would really get me excited. I would probably go to the dealership the day one of those arrived just to look at it, even if I couldn't buy it, because I know somebody probably had already paid $20,000 more than what the MSRP is on it. That's what happened with the Civic Type R's, at least where I lived. People were paying upwards of $20,000 to $25,000 more than the MSRP price. Now, is that enough to save Mitsubishi? Maybe not one specific model, but if you have that one specific model that is getting people excited to come into your dealerships, they may not buy the GSX model, the all-wheel drive turbo 340 horsepower or whatever it would end up being. At least it would get people into your dealerships and ultimately probably help you sell cars. It's pretty much the end of this video, guys. I know it's kind of a rant more than anything, but I really do want to know what you guys think in the comments, because in the why they canceled the Evo video, a lot of you guys had commented on that, and a lot of you guys brought up really valid points that I hadn't even thought of. So I think it's really cool when you guys, type in the comments section and let me know what you think. It's just kind of upsetting to me, to know that a company like Mitsubishi at one time, their vehicles were really exciting. And it's kind of like they lost their way a little bit. Maybe they made some bad financial decisions and they just don't see a way to keep like a performance type vehicle in their lineup. But I think it's almost a mistake, because when you go to that dealership, guys, I'm telling you, it's just boring crossovers with four-cylinder engines and CVT transmissions, and I just think there's just no reason to go there. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like this type of video, please let me know. Get that thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.